you guys leaving?
Saturday.
Yeah, I'm leaving Saturday too.
You're leaving Saturday too?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I won't be here Friday, so I will do something, I'll email something out to just wrap things up. I might have to have you guys write a couple paragraphs or something, I don't know, I'll double check with Amy. Main thing to this class, the main thing about it is, understanding the governance, the polity, understand that Constitution and bylaws are what enables us to operate, legally and in an organized fashion as churches. And Constitution and bylaws, some churches have it all blended together, like it says Constitution and bylaws and it's all mixed together. So they've got the things set out to tell why they are a church and how they're set apart in a, I forget how it begins, but, got all those kinds of things, and then it adds in membership. It'll talk about membership, then it'll talk about requirements for membership. So it just blends everything together. And others will have Constitution and then bylaws separately. So, what else? Annual business meetings, if your church has one, be proactive, just be proactive so that it's a positive thing instead of a negative thing. Because a lot of people have negative memories and experiences with annual business meetings. Like even, like trauma from annual business meetings. So figure out a way to design it so that it is positive and you control it. You don't leave any chance, hopefully, for anything to get into the agenda that's not predetermined. Because there might be some guy who just has a bone to pick and decides to stir everybody up or something. So hopefully not. Hopefully you won't ever have to worry about that. But see, what else was there? Big deal in the Constitution and bylaws is our beliefs. You can include all 16 fundamental truths, or you can refer to them and then have them posted like on your website or something, or you could say we adhere to the 16 fundamental truths of the Assemblies of God. You can find them, blah, 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 or just put them in there, which means you should be familiar with them yourself. So, especially when you get close to getting licensing or something like that. I couldn't quote them in order for you because that's a lot, but I know what they are, so you need to be conversant, and then be able to, if somebody mentions one of them, okay, that I know what that is, and be able to talk about it and stuff. Yeah.
For like the Jesus Christ ones, do you have to when you're getting credentialed and you're doing them, do you have to do like the A, B, C, D? Like it has a bunch of different.
It depends on who's testing you or how they do it, the network.
Okay.
Some give you it seems like Matt and Dan just did theirs. And I remember, it seems like they had to list them all out, but I don't know if you have to do them in order or not. But I remember him saying he had to, list everything out. Mine, it's been so long I can't remember. But I think mine was like a test, multiple choice and that kind of stuff. So it would ask questions about the 16 fundamentals, and you would have to answer them. But it depends on, you have to talk, when you get ready to get credentials, ask them what they expect, how you should prepare, and stuff like that. So it'll have something to do with that in there, though, for sure.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
I'll go
Okay,
So, say you wanna make like a rule for your church, like, I don't know, like some sort of rule.
mhm.
How do you determine if that should be in the bylaws or if it should just be like a rule?
Well,
And like, does it have to be in the bylaws to be legally upheld to protect yourself? Or can it just be like a rule?
well, if you publish, policies and procedures, that can be an addition to bylaws. And so policies and procedures, they won't, go against anything in the bylaws, but they just expand out how the church operates and stuff like that. But if it's something that could have legal implications, you know, I don't know, like, you'll only, you decide, you only wanna hire a youth pastor that's, you know, over 23 years of age, or over 25 or older and is married. Maybe that's what the church wants for stability. That might need, I don't know, that might need to be in the bylaws, where it talks about staff and leadership and stuff. You would have to then, though, if you want anything in the bylaws, you have to present that as an amendment or a resolution at the annual business meeting
Mm-hmm.
and go through the whole process. If
Yeah.
you wanna change something in the bylaws, you have to put forth an amendment to change such and such to read this way instead of that way,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that.
So, for example, like, if a church made a rule, like, parents can't come down to the kids' area because they're scared of, like, sex offenders or something. Or, like, people that aren't parents coming, like, you have to stay in this area and then we'll bring your kids this area. Should that be like a policy procedure?
Yeah, that would be in policies and procedures. You would have security policies and procedures, so
Mm-hmm.
you'd have, two-way glass on all the windows, so that, for the kids' rooms, for all the children's areas, so that if anybody walks by, they can look in and see what the adults are doing, and, you know, that's one thing, that your insurance company will make suggestions on what you should do to be safer as far as liability. And then you decide that, like with the board, and then you make necessary changes and put it in your policies and procedures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Do you think for an amendment that's getting voted on, it should be 2/3 or should it be 50?
Depends on what your bylaws say. Your bylaws might say a 2/3 majority vote, or it might say a majority vote.
But do you think it's right for it to be 50%? Because I've heard some discussion like it's just like barely over 50, like you're
Yeah.
barely getting enough people.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's better if it's 2/3. Unless you're the one offering the amendment and you wanna make sure it passes. But no, it's better if you wanna try to have even more than that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The goal is to be able to communicate well enough what's going on and why you're thinking about it, and have everybody be able to understand it, so that when you get to the time for the meeting, they'll already have thought it through. Usually if you have an amendment, you pass it out, and it's probably in your bylaws. You have to let the membership know like 2 weeks in advance, and give them like we gave them a copy of the amendment we were gonna do, so they could review it. You know, so you want people to be informed, and hopefully they'll see the logic in the way you and the leadership have decided that, you know.
Yes.
If not, then it just doesn't pass, and that's okay. Should be okay, you know, that's part of the process. So, if something doesn't pass and you really wanted it to, you have to like, just step back and say, okay, God, I understand, we'll see what happens next, so. we'll try again next year, or maybe we'll understand it better as we go. But, yeah, and in the board meetings, I definitely highly encourage doing everything you can to come to a consensus before you decide to vote on something. So discuss it enough, answer all the questions, listen to what people have to say, because they might be right. They might have a good point, you know. So you have to listen and pray together. And if it doesn't feel like it's talked through and understood yet, then just table it and vote on it later. It's cool when you finally do vote on something, if everybody just says aye. Not because they want to please the pastor, but because you've worked it out together as a team. You don't want to have, you don't want people to think your board is a bunch of yes men and women. You want them to see your board as a united group of spiritually mature people that are take it seriously and, you know, that kind of thing. Yep. You can ask, we have a long time, you can keep questions if you want.
Well, I think I've read enough for now.
Nah, come on, man.
Maybe a little bit.
You've read some Constitution and bylaw stuff now, so you've kind of seen what's in them. But every church, every sovereign church has the prerogative to write their own Constitution and bylaws, as long as they're legally put together and there's nothing contradictory in it. You know, it should never cause them any issues. But I think it's smart to just look at a lot of different churches' Constitution and bylaws before you write your own.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
When you're planting a church and it's individual, it's not with another church,
Mm-hmm.
like a parent church,
Right.
that church immediately go under the district's supervision since it's, when you're planting, it's under 20 technically.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably in a different kind of category, because it's church planting. So I would, I would have to have a board, and that would need to be the district presbytery and stuff with the church planter, unless it's going underneath a mother church or something. But yeah, I don't know how soon you would have to do that. They might, you know, the network might wait for you to feel like you've got you've locked in well enough so you can start making those decisions, bigger decisions. I've never planted a church per se, so I haven't had to do that, but it makes sense that if you know it's gonna happen, then you need to get leadership in place and accountability in place. So it's always good to be very close to the network, not just out there on your own, not communicating with the network or not talking to them or anything. That doesn't make sense. But, yeah. Because the network's your friend, you know, they want you, they want new churches, so. Yep. Okay, other thoughts?
This is just a conversation that two people are watching.
Well, hopefully you're not in your heads, hopefully you're getting something from it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just don't really have any thoughts.
You're thoughtless?
Well, I don't really have any questions.
No, that's okay. So yeah, that's the essence of this class, is all those kinds of things. We have AG history, Pentecostal history and missions, so that class gets into AG history. This class, I don't touch on history very much because that's not really, it's AG polity. They used to be, the class like this in other schools I've been to, it was AG polity and history. So you would talk about polity and the history of the Assemblies of God. But this one is pretty focused. I mean, it has a little bit that you touch on the history, but So, and there's so many resources on the AG website to help, like, recommended constitution and bylaws and all these articles, so many articles about all these questions and issues that you could think of. It's really a good resource, so. And pastors that you know that are doing well are always a good resource to talk to. So, all right, well, guys, I think I'm done if you are.
Oh boy.
Huh?
I said, oh boy.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
And next week, there's, yeah, I won't be here. I'll be in England, so.
It's gonna be cool, take pictures.
We will.
Pictures.
We will take pictures. I will take a picture where it looks like I'm holding up Big Ben or something.
That'd be amazing. I would love to see that.
Yeah, we're going to go to Oxford because I've always wanted to see where Tolkien and Lewis lived and worked and died and are buried and all that. And then we have to spend the night someplace, so we're gonna spend the night in Nottingham. So I'm gonna look for Robin Hood there, see if he's there. Isn't that where Robin Hood was? Nottingham, or what's the forest? Sherwood Forest, yeah. And then on the way back to London before we fly out, we're gonna go to the place where my wife was born.
Whew.
So we're gonna see that town. She doesn't remember it because she moved when she was a baby. But anyway, we're gonna do that.
So did your wife have dual citizenship for a while?
No, her dad was Air Force, so.
Oh.
Born on the base.
automatically American citizen, yeah.
So it was like a base or something.
Yeah, I think she was born in a British hospital because of maybe not having the proper facility or the proper something. So I think she was born in downtown. It's called Mildenhall is the place. Mildenhall, and then the air base is RAF Mildenhall. It's a British air base, but they have a U.S. stuff there too. Yeah. So, well, thanks guys.
Thank you.